What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. I am your host, Ed Honcho. Uh, the Den at a new and improved. I don't know, is it improved? We'll figure out if it's improved. But it is a new time, 9. So I can't say the Den at 10 anymore. But it is what it is. Glad that you could join me this evening, all you wonderful people. New Year's, and I was thinking about doing another New Year's related topic, but from that last video I posted, I saw some things, and then I want to discuss tonight about the focus on the family and some things around that. I think it's a multi-tiered conversation. So, aside from that, I'm glad that you could join me. I thought last night was very interesting. Uh, just hearing from everybody and hearing their thoughts and their opinions on things. Um, so we'll go from there. Let's see who we have joining us. Who I got early bird. Now you got to be like an early bird. Let's see, 335 holding it down. He was turned up last night. Uh, Miss Jen Smith, Miss Brenda, M Grace, K Grace, Sweetberry. The things we've seen about Miss Sweetberry. Shame on you. Lady Licious Culture, Misty, it's me, the chatter formerly known as Dream Barbie. Jason S., what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Jess Sarah, what's the motherfucking deal? D the Gamma, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Shannon. Well, hey Shannon. How are you, Shannon? Only one lie. Jaja Era, what's the motherfucking deal? Young Poppy, what's the motherfucking deal? Empress, yeah, how are you this evening, ma'am? What's the motherfucking deal? Miss Bell, what's the motherfucking deal? Don't give me look YouTube stream. Don't give me no shit. Let's see. Okay, let me get that to us. Couple you on the money there. Make sure I got y'all for your early bird stachios. Oh, and I must have overlooked. I apologize to you again. I must have looked away right before the stream started. I didn't add those last couple. Okay. So tonight, like I said, I want to talk about focusing on the family. As we go into this new year, um, different people have different things that they find important, that they value, that you know registers some sense of importance to them. And we've discussed my situation. It's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later in the stream. But I want to talk about the things that I've learned. I think especially a lot from you, various den folk. Just as far as how important family is. When I was young, I didn't value it that much. My parents were married for about the first 10, 11 years of my life, and they were divorced after that. Um, I say it separated kind of maybe before that, then eventually got divorced. But, it was just kind of whatever, I didn't see it as a thing. Some of my friends, their parents were together, some of them weren't. Some people had, even without, both parents, single parents had good homes. Some didn't. Um, and so when I talk about the family tonight, it's not all just the nuclear family, but it's about family as a whole and why it is important. And the reason I get to this is because I want to talk a little bit more about the video I posted earlier and some of the responses to it. And then, like I said, we will open up the line and we'll talk about a few other things as we go along. So, for those of you who didn't see the video, there's a young man named Bryce Gowdy. He was basically scheduled in a couple of days. I don't know. I can't remember if it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be this upcoming Monday. Yes, Monday coming up. That he was supposed to go off to Georgia Tech, and he graduated early. He was 17, 4-star recruit, and all that stuff is irrelevant. Like I said, the sports part of it doesn't fucking matter, right? But what does matter is this young man took his own life and why. And there's another video out there of his mom, and she's talking. And I'm going to be honest with you. What I'm going to say is going to sound really fucking harsh. If you have not seen the video, if you have seen the video, I know it's posted in the Facebook group, but she basically explains the whole scenario of what happened. And so here's my thoughts on that. Hey, Miss Hattie J, how are you? And yes, to all of you who were not with us, I hope that you did have a happy New Year's. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope that you were safe. And I hope that y'all aren't having any new additions to the family in 9 months, early September. But Nick Gordon. That one is, I don't know. But my thing is this, right? My thing is this. The mom got to talking and explaining the situation. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if you watched it or not, but from my perspective, and I don't want to influence anyone, what they see or say or saw, whatever. She seemed extremely, and this is messed up because you sound like, well, you're talking about a homeless lady with her kids and all that, but she seemed selfish. If you listen to the way she explains the scenario and how everything goes with that, she sounded very selfish in the things that she said. And what I mean by that is, the little things. And she talked about, how he was talking about he sees the signs and he sees what's this, that, and, he'd been talking crazy, I guess, for a couple of days. She blamed his dad for that. For some reason, and she told the dad that she wished that he would disappear from their lives. So again, I'm curious as to why, if you have connections with the father, again, I don't know the situation, if all the kids are his or if it was just him, the oldest child, and that relationship. But I'm trying to figure out what's really going on. But ultimately, the kids start breaking down because as the days gotten closer, they say, this is like a new thing. So I know everybody's saying, mental illness. But I think there are activities and actions that can cause mental illness to occur, like when it may not have originally been just, naturally mentally. I think experiences can cause this. And I think that he literally became extremely stressed out, knowing that he was going to have a home and he was going to be fine and treated well and eating good, knowing that his two little brothers and his mom were basically out on the streets, living out the car and hotel to hotel. And I think that this tore at him and ate at him and ended up breaking this young man. So my thing is this, right? So when she tells the story, I guess he was talking to her and she talked about how much he talked about he was worried about him and would it be okay and all this stuff. And she talked about how it was stressing her out and she just started her period, so she couldn't handle his energy because he was being really intense. And, it was like a lot of her. Why I couldn't do this, why I couldn't do that, why I couldn't do this. And then, we finally got a hotel and, I was in the bathroom for 30 minutes or so and, I had to finally calm down and, it just, as a mom, if you see that your son is going through something, especially he's going to go through a transition, and I know you're already in a tough situation and I know it's a stressful situation, but your job as a mother is to nurture, to provide some sense of well-being or something. Again, I don't know how many of you watched the video. Now, this is just my perception. If you feel like I'm wrong when I open up the line, feel free to challenge my views. But it was like, she talked about, let me finish telling the story, basically what she said. So she said, I guess it was really cold in the hotel. So she got up and told him to go downstairs and get her blanket out of the car. Now, again, it is what it is. Kids do things for their parents all the time. I'm sure people, if you have kids, you say, go get that for me, go do this for me, go do that for me. Or, it's extremely cold, whatever it is. I feel like I guess maybe it's a man thing or whatever. Just go down to your car and get your blanket. Don't ask somebody else to deal with the cold or the something. I'm sure they're feeling the same thing. So after a while, apparently he doesn't come back. She said, his phone, his wallet were left there. She says she goes and looks outside for a second. She doesn't see him, so she goes back inside and then tells one of the younger kids to go look for their brother. That bothered me. That, like, again, a lot of these little things really bothered me. And maybe I'm looking too far into it or whatever else it may be, but this is your child. You sit him out for whatever thing and you haven't seen him after a while. You should be out there looking, not sending one of the other little kids to go look or whatever. And so I guess one of the other kids went and looked for a while, didn't find him, comes back. She said she starts crying because she just knew it was something bad. She just knew it was something terrible had happened. But then she said she called the brother, his uncle, to see if anything, he had heard anything. So he said he called around to some hospitals, and then that's when they found out this was about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I think, the next day, that somebody had been hit by a train. And then they went down there. She said, then the nurse gave him a detective's card to ID the body and all of that stuff. So I listened to all of this, and I was really disgusted. And again, this was actually after I recorded the video. I went back and I saw this part. So that's why I didn't necessarily mention a lot of this in the original video. And I wish I had watched the other one first. But after doing all of that, I feel like she has to take some level of responsibility. If you see it firsthand first, you're right there seeing that your child is traumatized by whatever's going on, and you said you see the change in him over the last couple of days, and this is not his behavior and everything else. And she talked about, well, he told me that he would never do such a thing like that. And yeah, but again, like I say, when you have a traumatic experience, you have to continue to check up on people. Of course, nobody sits there and play, I'm just going to take myself out one day, for no particular reason. I'm just going to do it. This young man was traumatized. Like, he couldn't imagine leaving his mom and 2 brothers. Nobody that he brought into this world, but he couldn't imagine not being there, either suffering with them or being able to protect and provide for them. And so that is, hey Heidi, what's the motherfucking deal? Who was it? Did I miss somebody? I think I shouted Hattie out. What's the motherfucking deal? Like it was just really bothersome to me. Bad and bougie, what's the motherfucking deal? And so just the whole thing was crazy. Who y'all talking about? Who is this Nick Gordon? I don't even know who that is. But this whole occurrence, man, like, it's just, I feel like she didn't do a good enough job. And I'm not saying as a parent or whatever. I don't know the situation while they were homeless. I don't know the situation if they were married and maybe divorced and things just went awry. Whatever it was. And then like I said, before this happened, she's telling the dad to stay out of their life. Like, that's bothersome to me too. Again, I don't know, the dad could be a toxic individual. We can talk, we can get all those dynamics here in a bit. But this whole story really upset me. And then, I talked about the single mother thing. And this is not every case, because when you say something in generalizations, of course, there's going to be outliers, there's going to be anomalies and things of that nature. But when you see a particular group that has a significantly higher amount of single moms than everyone else, that same particular group has a significantly higher crime rate and other issues that go with it. And then we talked about how mental illness is viewed in the black community as we don't take it seriously enough. And these are a lot of little factors that played into this. And again, I'm not saying single moms are the worst people on earth or they're terrible. I don't know how they got into the situation, again. But I made a couple of different comments with a few different people. One person was, well, the dads need to step up and do all. I absolutely agree. If you bring a child into this world, you need to do whatever it takes to be a part of that child's life. Also, again, but I think there needs to be a lot of reform.
Dan Strong donated $5. It seems we only take things seriously when it's too late to change the results. Bryce.
Man, I agree. Shout out to Dan Strong. I appreciate the love. And I agree. And that's why it's unfortunate because, again, another sad young life lost unnecessarily. And one life is one too many. And This young man had all the potential in the world, but he couldn't focus on that because of the situation that he was born into or whatever else. I mean, to do whatever you had to do in school, to graduate early, to do the things that you know you needed to do to get a full ride. I mean, just all of these things while being homeless. Like, that's a lot of pressure on a child. You know what I'm saying? And then for him to have to try to take on this. But what I was getting at would say with some of these single moms, especially when you're raising these young boys, when the father is absent for whatever reason it may be, he may be locked up, he may be a piece of shit, it might have been a one night stand, it may have been whatever it may have been, right? But let's be honest, a lot of these aren't coming from marriages, especially the black community, because we talked about the numbers a few weeks back about, even though it's what, like 83% of black people marry black people, but it was like only 38% of black people are getting married, something like that, something crazy. So there's this overwhelming amount of baby mamas, and that became an acceptable term, and things like that. It just, I think it furthered the corruption. And we can talk about all the policies and things in history too. I mean, there's so many things that contributed to it. But, you know, like I say, I was going back and forth with it, but I'm like, yeah, I get it that, yeah, deadbeat dads, shitty dads need to be a part of their lives. And they said, but yeah, but we're not going to, we're not going to, but I'm like, but women need to, hold their responsibility too. And then it was like, oh, we're not going to do that. Well, yes, absolutely, we are going to do that because women need to be responsible because they have the understanding that they're the ones that are going to have to carry the kid. You know that ultimately, if things go awry, you're going to be held responsible for that. So it comes to, and I get it. Women just get just as horny as men. They get just as, if not more, and all this other stuff. And they want to do these things too. I get it. I get it. But you have to understand the risk that you take as a woman with the outcome, with anything that happens at the situation, is significantly higher. And I really think that we have to get back to a point that if you don't want to, or you're not going to accept, or you don't want to get this, then for this to change, you have to start taking some kind of commitment. If he's not willing to commit to you and who you are, and you're not willing to show restraint before letting him bust all inside you, shoot the club up, as some people like to say, then you're putting yourself in a bad position, because we all know the saying, mama's baby's daddy's maybe. We know even if the situation for the father is better, the court system is 9 times out of 10 going to handle it to the mother. And I'm wondering how, that whole situation is played out. But ultimately, I think that the family structure is important because, I'm tying all this into this in some kind of way loosely, that maybe if you have both parents there, maybe the struggle isn't as bad. Maybe not, you don't have an entire homeless family. Maybe somebody sees what's happening here before it happens. Maybe these young children don't grow up thinking that they have to be the man of the house way before they even know how, way before they get to be children, really, and then you actually have a man there to teach them how to be the man of the house. And I'm telling you, women, you have all the power. Pussy control, Prince told y'all all about it. If you started changing and making a different decision as to who gets to do what, when, and where, men will abide, they will fall in line, and they will do exactly as told. If being a drug dealer did not get you any, niggas would stop selling drugs tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? They would stop selling dope tomorrow. If you said, hey, you know what? I know back in high school you were a nerdy kid. I wasn't fucking with you. But if that script flipped, niggas would get off the football field, they'd get off the basketball court, they'd get into the books. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, this is what I'm saying. The power is in the women, especially and I know we were talking about patriarchy, matriarchy, all this other stuff. The power that women have is basically attracting the man, and the man that you want, and the man that you should have. Now, I know these days, not all women like men. They may like other women. Some women dress like men and act like them, and I don't know. But aside from all that, I think the only way that this changes is when women start accepting more. And I think the more women want to be like men, and again, I'm not talking about the den ladies. Den ladies are usually, like 90% of y'all are very sensible and understanding and legitimate. But society, the den is not like society outside of this virtual container. they're encouraging, well, be sexually free, be sexually liberated, do all these other things. That's why the abortion rates are rising because well, I don't want to have it anyway, so I'll just have an abortion, or that's the new birth control. Or I mean, with so many options for birth control, I don't even see how these things keep happening. But again, it's just it has to change somewhere. And if you're gonna have a fucking family, if you're gonna have man, you got to do whatever the fuck it takes to make that shit work. Man, you got a shitty baby mama, you got to figure that shit out. Like, for the sake of the children, for the sake of the next generation. I think it's a little bit harder for women if you get with a shitty dude. Just because. I mean, you could just be a fucking no-show and do absolutely nothing and be a scumbag. I think when it comes with women, and there's a lot of scumbag women out there too. We're going to go leave the kids with grandma and we go hit the club all night. I might see you next weekend. And you got kids calling their moms by their first names and shit like that. But I firmly believe this, that when you have a child, it's not that your life is over, but that child must come first in everything, every decision that you make and everything that you do. The child must come first because the child did not ask you to be born. The child did not say, hey, pop up to you in a dream and say, have me, or some weird shit. You made that decision and you bred life, and then you put this life in a fucking shitty position. I'm not saying everybody, it's a lot of these stories that keep happening. And then when you do it 2, 3, 4 times, and then you start complaining about your situation, well, it's kind of your fucking fault, but we don't want to play that role. Oh, we can't blame them for their. Yes, the fuck it is. Keep your goddamn legs. If you know that you bad off with one kid, why do you continue to have more? If you know that you can't you handle the situation, now if you got it under control, do what the fuck you want to do, right? But if you know that you can't handle one kid and it's put you in a terrible spot, why go do it again? Why not get your shit together? Why not get it all figured out before you get to making piss poor decisions again? But we make excuses these days and say, well, it's not her fault. It's this. And okay, well, if you're going to do that, birth control like a motherfucker. Like, you have no excuse. Like, there's literally no excuse to bring children into bad situations. But then there's some people just don't give a fuck. They want to have a bunch of kids. They don't give a fuck about their situation, knowing that they're not in a good spot, which is what we want to have kids for the sake of having kids to say we got one. And now you fucked off. The kid's fucked off. And then these generational things keep happening, but it's because kids are having kids and they never learn anything. It's because we talk about, oh well, there's no generational wealth. It's a good point. I believe Mr. Prepaid, either Rob or Prepaid brought up a while back, and it was a great call. We had a series of great calls earlier in the year, and I'm not saying we haven't had great ones since then, but it was just some similar topics. And basically, you don't have generational wealth because ain't nobody making no money if you keep having fucking kids. Like, you're not learning anything to accumulate wealth to pass on because you're fucking having kids as a teenager, and then they're having kids as a teenager. It's like, when are you going to have time to accumulate wealth? So it's like there's a point where you have to accept responsibility for your own action. Your loins can get you in a lot of trouble. Your loins can get you in a situation where it can be very hard to get out of in multi different facets. It could be financial, it could be health-wise, it could be emotional, it can be a lot of things. But all of this that I'm saying, and I want to get to focusing on the family, is that if we're going to be doing these things, we have to get back to a point where people are making conscious, sensible decisions. If you want to be single and have children, there's a multitude of ways to do it. But make sure you're financially stable. If you know that you can't afford it, birth control, Plan B, whatever the fucking shit is called, it's much cheaper than all of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But again, society encourages, hey, well, if you do this, just have an abortion. Just do this. Like we talked about the lady who had, 5 or 6 of them. And some people were celebrating her. Some people were talking about, but you can't talk about her for doing that because, I'm going to talk about her fucking shitty ass fucking decisions. Like, the part of it is you just letting how many dudes just run up in you raw? Like, because what? But then all of a sudden they're all trash. It's not you, it's they're all trash. But you keep picking the same type of dude, right? So again, it's a lot going on. Also, I agree with you on the music video thing. You have to pay close attention, not just the music videos, the entertainment, the video game, everything, because society is transforming, and I expect to see a big shift in 2020 also. the way what is acceptable and what's not acceptable, the standard. There used to be a lot of family shows on TV. I think there's still family shows on TV, but I don't know. The ideals have changed significantly. You know, Brady Bunch was cool. They made it work. You know, we talk about Family Matters. We talked about rock and things like that. But especially in the black people, you don't see positive. Really, I mean, you don't really see that positive black family structure show anymore. And if there is, I mean, because I just don't watch a lot of TV, I'm missing out on it. So again, I'm kind of on a rant, and I want to make sure we have enough time because, like I say, you know, even though we moved up, we're still going to stick to the 2 hour mark. So, they don't talk that long. All right, so we will open it up. We will take some calls. So, Lisa, what's the motherfucking deal? Let me see. Rodney, what's the motherfucking deal? Rob Myers, what's the motherfucking deal? TVV, what's the motherfucking deal? The 12-12 rule, daughter 12, mom 12, grandma 36. Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing. And it's like, and again, like I said, I don't want to put it all on the women folk. Because women, when you don't have that father figure in the house, a lot of times too, you know, you start craving that male attention one way or another, and nobody guides them and says, hey, well, this is the kind of man you need to see, this is the kind of man you need to be with. But those men aren't generally exciting, or they're not doing this and they're not doing that. So like I say, it's there's some biology in it, there's human nature, there's lack of understanding and knowledge, there's decision making, there's so many factors, so many facets that go into it. And then sometimes you may get somebody who appears to be all the things that they're supposed to be, and then you get pregnant and they just bail. You know, there's so many. No two stories are going to be the same, and I understand that. So I'm not necessarily trying to lump everybody into one big category, but there is a category that is larger than all the rest, and a lot of this is the over-sexualized nature of society now, and the things that we push to the forefront, and a lot of this shit has to change. And I'm saying this as a man, a free-range man. Out in the wild, and it's just like honestly, if I wanted to, if I really wanted to, I could be getting into all kinds of shenanigans. I mean, it's too easy. It's like it's literally too easy, and at this point, like I'm not even interested, and it makes me feel weird because I'm like, hey, you know, bust something up over here. But it's just like I look at a lot of the stuff that's going around, and like I say, it's not just STDs are a thing, but I'm just looking at a lot of women these days, especially in my age group, younger, even slightly older, that are still doing it. And it's just the way that they behave, they act, that they carry themselves. And then, you know, I got my over super niche preferences. I'm cooling, man. Like I'm just really chilling. It's just really off-putting, and it's sad, you know. So it is what it is. But with that being said, let's get some calls in, man. Let's talk about some stuff. Let me pop this out, and then I'll put the number up here in just a second, and then let's make a check. Excuse me. Yes, I'm yawning, even though we're a little bit earlier. There's a number. So, I just want to know your thoughts on the various situations. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
It's Miss Grace. How are you, Honcho?
I am doing excellent, Miss Grace. How are you this first day of the new year? And what's on your mind?
Hey, I haven't had a New Year's, celebrated New Year's for like 20 years. Yesterday was my first time. I was dancing around the house. Oh, yes, I was.
That's what's happening.
But thank you for that. That was wonderful. Because usually I'm sleeping because that song, that damn thing will make me weep. It's depressing. It's as depressing to me as listening to the taps played at a funeral.
Really?
Yeah, I can't even. Yeah, I can't. I would cry.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. So I would go to sleep. You mean, and then I wake up in the middle of the night and I just watch television, how people celebrate New Year's all over the place. One time James took me, we went to Canada for New Year's. James and I flew in while my friends all took the bus because I said my back was going to hurt. And, I mean, even it was wonderful there. But, yeah, you hear that song, it would make me weep every time. But getting to the subject here about these young mothers, I was a young mother, as you know. I don't have any regret. The first time around, like I said, I was just a teenager. 8 years later, I was 22. Right then and there, I knew that I needed to do something with my life because my daughter's father was a liar. Like I said, the first, we were teenagers. The second one, a liar. So even at that tender age of 22, I knew that I needed to get my ass in gear, and I probably wouldn't have any more kids after that. Like I said, especially if I had my girl, and God blessed me with the girl that I always wanted. When I was pregnant, Honcho, I went and took automotive 1 and 2, and I learned to work on cars. I know how to fix an oil gasket leak. Take that top off and scrape that little cork thing off and clean it off, let it dry, put some more glue on it, put that little cork thing and put the top back on. I know how to do oil changes. I know how to do tune-ups. I knew how to change spark plugs. I knew how to do the tires. I couldn't get that timing thing right, the timing belt, because I knew right then and there at that age of 22 that I needed to know how to make money, save money. And I never wanted my son to be the man of the house. He was a kid. It wasn't his responsibility. That was my responsibility to know how to get a job, to go to school and sit up there and have every little side hustle. I used to braid babies' heads because I had short hair. I used to braid. People used to bring the little bald-headed babies, and I used to braid bald-headed baby heads and get paid for it. Because around here nobody could handle that. I could do it with my long skinny fingers. I can go real fast. I can braid hair and everything really fast. But today they're making so many excuses. And even I'm going to back it up to when I was pregnant with my daughter. I also made sure I said, okay, my last time I'm going to go to Lamaze classes. My daughter's godmother. She went with me. The other woman had a man with them. I went to nurse and mother counselor meetings. I remember getting a set of encyclopedias. It was my job to make sure I was prepared for my child, the new one that I was bringing into this world. And back at the time, I don't know if you ever knew about, at the supermarkets, they would have little promotions where you get encyclopedias, like on this week, you spend so much money, you get this encyclopedia for $1, that encyclopedia. Well, one year, I only got a half a set of encyclopedias, and then it was over. So the following year, I got the second half. I knew that I had the encyclopedia that had B for breastfeeding, and I read up on breastfeeding. I learned that there was at least 20 milk duds in each breast. Did you think that you could sit there and squirt milk out of there and it comes out of one whole, Honcho?
Yes, I did. as much experience as I've had with the breast, I did not know about the...
Nope. There's at least 20 milk ducts in each one, and it goes counterclockwise. And when you squeeze it, milk shoots out of several different holes at one time.
Okay.
And I knew that I had to eat properly. I had to exercise. I had to massage. I had to eat oats. I had to do all of those things to make sure that was just right for the baby that I was bringing into this world. Because if anything goes wrong and any one of those milk ducts becomes blocked, it'll get hot as a brick, it'll get infected, it'll get inflamed, and your baby's not getting good milk. I needed to save money because I wasn't going to be able to go out there and afford to buy Infamilk. I had to breastfeed my daughter. So with all these little hustles today, these girls get pregnant and immediately they get welfare.
Yes.
And they're taken care of.
Correct.
And so so these guys have no responsibility, and these women don't care because they will be taken care of. Because the government has become the father of these kids. And these women feel so entitled. If you have a child, you should not be able to afford getting your hair did and your nails done and things like that there if you can't take care of the other things that the kids' at least physiological needs.
Yes.
You need to be able to do that. I even had to work to make sure my kids were like in martial arts school and dancing school, and my daughter went for free, because when I went to college, when she got a little older, to go take French lessons. I was there doing all of those things. You mean, but a lot of girls today, they don't want to. All they do is on the first day of school, they make sure their kids look nice, but the kids never had a book. And the fathers also, a lot of our fathers ain't shit. You know, even with my father, he didn't marry my mother, but the first day of school, the last day of school, Easter, Christmas, and our birthdays, he always sent money and sent gifts. Even when he was stationed in Greece, he sent bikes overseas to us. He would show up. When I had my tonsils out, my father flew in. You know what I mean? So that he was in the hospital with me. When I had a hysterectomy when I got older, my father flew in to take care of me, and I had a little crystal bell that I would ring. My father was like, "Good night." She keeps ringing that bell. Ding, 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 for my dad to do something else for me because I needed more food. But these guys today, they have no shame to their game, and these young women, they have no shame to their game. You mean they don't care if the kids are left out there because welfare and the government and everybody's going to make excuses for them. And I had put earlier when you put that video up, I'm glad you did, that we need for 2020, we need to be, what did I say down there? I forgot what I put. But anyway, agent changes. We need to change things, change agents.
Yes.
We need to make some changes. You know what I mean? And we need to not be afraid to call out these young people when they mess up. Right. You know, my daughter has one kid. My granddaughter's 13 years old now. My daughter's not thinking about having another one because these guys are not doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know, so why bother? You know what I mean? So, yeah, and I do, and I feel sorry. The guys, when I was coming up, the men, at least for the most part, they would do a bit better. But today, they're worse than ever. And the broads are worse than ever. And they're broads.
and
you know, they're broads. They're not ladies. They're not women. You know what I mean? They want to be like as tough as a man. They want to fight like a man. They think that they can get out there and they can one-up a man. Ladies, there was a song when I was coming up, and it was called "Girls Can't Do What the Guys Do and Still Be a Lady." You can't, and not still be a lady.
No.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, and people and people don't want to abide by roles. You mean as a woman, they think, like I said, and we've said this over and over again, and we've talked about it, that if we're women and we're domesticated or things like that, we're domestic goddesses, you mean, or we're kind or we're nice, we're considered by even our own other women as being weak.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not weak. Like I'm going to say it again, ladies. To purr is to be smart. You know, you don't have to get out there and be all raunchy and all this twerking stuff. Oh, please, I'm sick of it.
Yeah, me too. And then and I normally enjoy those kind of things, but it's gotten to the point where I've seen every which way a butt can move. I don't think I need to see anymore. I become less than interested now.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I really am. You know, but we need to do better. You know, on taking care of the kids, taking care of our communities. But to be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to happen because when you have conversations with a lot of people and you listen to the bullshit that's coming out of their mouth, they're still making excuses. Still making excuses. You mean there are. Don't let your reason be your excuse.
Right.
And they just keep on doing it. So I don't know what to tell you, Honcho. This new generation, I don't know.
And I think that's where it's important. That's what I think it ties into, though. When we're talking about the family, I think, you know, we may not be able to save everybody en masse, but if you focus on your family and really dedicate that time and energy to it, then you can avoid a lot of these problems. But like I said, a lot of people are letting the devices raise the kids, or letting the TVs raise the kids. They're just going along with everything else society. Well, this is okay now. This is okay now. Well, we can do this now. Don't even worry about that. And not realizing the impact that it's going to have long term on the kids, on the women, on the men. And again, and so that's why a lot of us, we're in the situation that we're in now. And I agree with you. I don't think it's going to change. I think, you know, if you can enlighten a few individuals and they can benefit from it, I think you've done more than enough of a job. Because most people now, they just they want to do what they want when they want and don't give a fuck. And if you're going to support a lot of this nonsense and enable them to do it, they're going to continue to do it.
Yeah. It's easy. They want to do what's easy. And putting kids like, you mean these kids, like you said, they can't even read, but they're working technology. I said, we're on vacation. What my daughter does, she's sitting there with the granddaughter. She prints out, her project. My granddaughter has projects where she has to boil the milk and she has to check the eggs and check the protein and measure this and get the thermometer. But a lot of women don't do that. I'm glad that my kid does it with her daughter. That's not my job to do. That's her job, and she does it. And if she didn't, then I would check her on. But I don't have to ever check her because she does it. She does what she's supposed to do. I'm proud at the young woman that she is, of the mother that she is, and the daughter that she is. I'm extremely proud of her. If she was one of these raunchy girls out there, I would be embarrassed, and I would tell her. When my son one time cheated on his girlfriend, I cussed his ass out. I said, who the hell do you think you are? I cussed his ass out. I don't want to hear that. Even if it's my own son, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Would you like somebody to treat me that way? And even as a young mother raising my kids, we all had a job to do. His job was to put out garbage. I shouldn't have to tell you when to put out garbage. Every Tuesday the garbage goes out. And so he did it. He was faithful about it. Because if I ever had to tell him, oh, it's Tuesday, don't forget to put the garbage out, well, then, nigga, you're going to have to remind me to buy groceries and feed you then. How about that?
That's terrible. But I agree. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with giving the kids responsibilities. I think all that is important. I think all that is extremely important because that's what you have to start somewhere. And once you build those habits, it lasts for a lifetime. I just, but when I was talking about that story earlier, I was just kind of like disgusted just at the situation. But like I said, there's a few things. Like I said, I didn't want to focus solely on that today, but we'll probably kind of dive a little bit deeper into that tomorrow too. So, but it's because it's a lot.
I didn't see the video of the mother. Mm-hmm. I'm almost scared to watch it. Maybe I'll get a chance to, because tomorrow morning I'm not going to stay on the den because I have to tutor for 9:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm glad you're a little earlier. My daughter said, "Oh, the den's going to be earlier today." So I said, "Okay, I'll be up," because I didn't think that I would be. But I said, "Oh yeah, 9 o'clock," because like I said, I have to get up. I get up early every morning, but I can't go to that child tired because that student deserves the best of me. Correct. I have no business going tired. But I'm interested to hear what others have to say. Happy New Year once again to everyone, and I'm just going to sit here and listen until I fall asleep.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Kay Grayson. Happy New Year to you, too. I'm glad you got to enjoy it this year, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, wait, one more wait. Was I first again?
Yes, you were the first caller today. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Belle. Okay, bye.
Uh-oh. Is it a new trend for the 2020? What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling into the den this evening? Hello.
Well, hello, sir. Long-time listener, first-time caller, name's Coltrane.
What the fuck? Coltrane, what's the motherfucking deal, man? How are you this evening, man?
Well, motherfucking deal is I'm loving this new early stream, and I got a few things on my mind I'd like to talk about.
All right, let's talk about it. I'd love to hear it.
Well, I'm calling using my computer with Google Hangouts because I have a really nice desktop mic, and I was going to play a song through my computer at the end, but Google Hangouts has somewhat low quality, unfortunately. So before I continue, is my mic sounding all right?
Yeah, you sound good. You're clear. Yes, sir.
Okay. I got a couple questions I'm going to ask you. Okay. Question 1, what certifications do you plan on getting?
Right now, like I say, I don't have the specifics. Like I say, I have a bunch of information, but I'm looking to get adept in Python and what's the other one? Goddamn C++. That's where I plan to start at, and then work my way.
C++, yeah.
And then work my way from there. Those are
the yeah, man.
I plan on focusing on.
All right, well, shit. When you go to get certifications, look into networking fundamentals because that's one of the easiest ones. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you'll become MTA certified, which is Microsoft Technology Associate. So that's like a real easy place to start in terms of like IT and shit.
Okay. Definitely, I appreciate it.
But yeah, it was nice to hear about you starting with that shit because that's definitely a good route to go in terms of, IT. But question 2, have you further considered multi-streaming on DLive and YouTube at the same time?
Yes, I was actually thinking about that earlier. Like I said, what I've been doing is kind of minimizing a lot of things, but I have been looking at the D Live thing, and I just have to or just got to execute on that. So, but yeah, I got to see if the Restream IO, if they have it on there. I used to have it, I stopped using it. So, but I do plan on doing some multi streaming on the on multiple platforms.
Hell yeah. Because I'm kind of worried, YouTube might just all of a sudden delete your shit or start hiding you from new viewers, and I'd fucking hate to see that happen. But anyways, question 3.
Okay.
Will Discord ever become fully public as a 24/7 chat for all Den members and not just the paying ones? Denizens, as your potentially elected Dennis official, I strongly suggest to his loyal counsel that this be done in your name, Culture 2020.
Yeah, the Discord will become active. I got it set up, and I don't even know if I have I don't think any of the patrons are in there. I just know that we have different groups, so I will activate that. And by tomorrow, we'll have the Den Discord will be active.
Oh shit! Okay. Okay. Question 4: do you ever get sick of the same callers?
No, not really, because it's usually something interesting that they have to say that's a little bit different. But as far as getting the same old, no, like it's kind of like you get used to the regulars.
Okay, I feel it. Okay, question 5. Do you show respect to everyone who calls because of your own personal sense of morality, or is it because you have a sense of professionalism on stream and you try to mitigate confrontations?
Maybe a little bit of both. I'm pretty much. I'm just the type of person I feel like I always try to show respect, even if it's somebody that is questionable. Because, like I say, my thing is I be respect. I'm courteous in everything as much as I can be. Because that way, if you ever try to cross me or play me or come at me crooked, I have no problems with anything that happens after that. Because I know that I did my part as far as being respectful to you. And then on the stream, I try to keep it as cordial as I can. I know sometimes things get AWOL and out of hand, but I want everybody to feel welcome, and I want everybody to feel like they can express their opinion. Some people, may see you kind of get a little feisty with one individual, and they may say, well, I got a similar personality to this person, and they may turn them off. So, like I say, I think it's a little bit of both of them.
So you were like that before you started streaming, you think?
Yeah, I would say so. For the most part, in everything I did, I try to show a lot of respect. Like I say, but so that way, like I say, if somebody becomes disrespectful, if somebody, plays me foul or something like that, then whatever situation I have, the situation has to be handled depending on the outcome or whatever it is. Then, like I say, I don't feel bad about any of my actions afterwards because I know that I initiated with nothing but the utmost respect.
Okay, and then I got one last note. I'm going to go on kind of a monologue, to fit in with the rest of the callers, so feel free to just sit there and not respond. Okay, I wanted to mention this about Kay Grace. I'm not sure if she's listening, but she reminds me of the best teacher I had in high school. She was a big old black lady named Mrs. Singleton. I never really said a whole lot to her, but she always looked at you with some unique look like you were her child or something. She was really good at teaching kids, and she knew how to invoke emotion and be entertaining while teaching. It was more like guidance, really. I experienced that same type of acknowledgement when I heard Kay Grace's call the other night about her mother. She took all of the agony, the torment, the suffering, and carved a path of helping children that she doesn't even know. She even treats us like we're her children. You can just tell how genuine she is about life. There's a saying from the Warcraft movie, which I'm probably going to get shit for, but it goes, from light comes darkness, and from darkness light. It's said by a person who saves all humanity from a volatile, corrosive form of magic called Fel. Now, people can say I'm a nerd or whatever, but that saying is so true it's not even funny. The people we have in the den with minor problems, they are the very loud, very offended ones. But the solid ones, like Kay Grace, that know true sorrow, have more definitively picked their path in life. It's not problems that keep our emotional capacity deadlocked. It's a lack of real problems. Okay, now I'm going to do a sound check real quick because I'm going to try to play something through my computer. So give me a second here.
All right.
Okay. Go ahead and say something for me.
Yes. Testing, 1, 2.
Okay. Tell me if you can hear this.
I'm not hearing anything at the moment. No, I can't.
It may not work. If that's the case, I'll have to call back.
Okay.
But it's no big deal.
Yeah. No, I'm not hearing anything.
All right. I'm going to call back later tonight.
Okay. Well, man, Mr. Cultured, it is excellent to hear from you. You've been holding down the chat for so long. I think this is a wonderful way to start the new year. I appreciate you calling in, man.
All right. I figure I'll probably call in another year or so.
That sounds good, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. Now, Heidi, the gauntlet has been laid down. What do you do? What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
Hey, it's Belle, and I'm third in line, and I'm okay with that.
How are you doing this evening, Miss Bell?
Good. It was great to hear Miss Grace, and it was pretty cool hearing culture for the first time and all the time that I've been in the den, so that was awesome. And I'm hoping I make mine pretty good.
Okay.
So I was thought about a lot about what you said, and as a mom with kids, I think it's really hard to make judgment calls on other parents because we don't always have all the circumstances going on with what's going on in their particular house. I find it very sad that the state of today's teenagers and young adults, their mental health comes under question so much more than it ever did when we were growing up. And they feel so much more pressure, I think, than we felt it too, but I think it's just different. You know, as my daughter said, is that they're trying to push technology and everything that you learn, plus everything we learn, plus everything that we need to know for the future in their short amount of time. And I don't think that they're completely wrong that way. But again, it puts a lot of pressure on kids to perform. And it doesn't seem as though mental health across the board is looked into, or there's enough availability for that to be taken into consideration. It still comes under a stigma. And I don't know how, I think that we've had a higher raise. I just heard it the other day, and I don't know if it was you that said it or somebody else that said it. From, I think it's 13 to 25, the second highest death rate is suicide among teenagers. Mm-hmm. And that being said, is something's got to give. I don't have an answer. I wish I could bring a solution to the table. All I know is that it needs to be talked about.
Yes.
And it needs to be discussed.
Yeah, I think I have a very good idea where a lot of it is coming from now. And, you know, and again, they talk about, I think, what is it, the demographic of junior high girls are the worst. They're the most depressed. They're having the most anxiety issues and things like that, because you have to think about it. You know, this is when you're at that age of development and all of that stuff. And, you know, especially as a girl, you're trying to look at, well, or anticipate what you're going to become as a woman. And then you're on Instagram and all of these plastic and made up women that you don't even realize that they have these fictitious bodies. They're photoshopping. They're getting surgery or doing all this other stuff, and some of them are just well-built creatures. Uchimba. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But you know, they're getting lost and upset by that because they're not developing in that manner, or they're feeling like they have to meet this criteria where all the attention and the likes, and again all that other stuff too, the dopamine hits from the likes on these social medias and all this stuff. That's why they're trying to take some of it away. I think a lot of these kids are, like I say, under the influence of a lot of this social media, don't realize it's all bullshit.
Well, there's an old saying is body by Mattel, women, body by Barbie, brain by Mattel, which means that they look great from the neck down, but they're still young children upstairs. And that's always been there. It's just more in the media. as much as the media does good, sometimes it's destructive to keep all that sensational stuff there all the time. However, it's really important to know about where the bad things are. It's just how do you balance that? You know, there were child molesters when I was growing up. There were child molesters when our parents were growing up. There've always been child molesters. They're no different then than they are now. It's just more sensationalized. It doesn't make them more of them. Are they bad? Absolutely. And I don't know why I'm going on that angle. Bringing this back, it was just, well, the thing is that that's one of the things that had been sensationalized about, you know, being kidnapped and this and that and the other thing. I mean, you talk about your Dr. Phils and your Oprahs and those kind of things. And as much as they're bringing social issues to light, which is great on one hand, it's not balancing it out on the other with teaching positive role models and positive image and different things. I mean, even as an adult, looking through the chat, people were talking about Lizzo being overweight and being just this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, as adults, if we can't get it together, how can we teach our kids not to be rude and not to be, you know, I hate the word politically correct because I think it really fucking sucks. But I think that there is a lack of politeness and a lack of manners going on in society across the board, which is something completely different than being politically correct. And that also comes with the, I don't know, XYG generation, and I'm not even sure where it's at with that, but it's that entitlement issue that a lot of the kids come, and not all of them have it, and I will definitely say that. But there's a certain percentage that have this entitlement issue, which leaves being polite in the dust.
Yeah, I agree.
And it doesn't allow these kids to stop and think twice before whatever's coming out of their mouth. And if they're that fast on the roll with that, it puts them that much faster on the roll in the hay with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I know that we want our kids to be able to be extremely intellectual and to be extremely all these things, but they have to take it at their own role. And I wasn't any different than any other teenager. I could have been a teen mom, but I wasn't. And I got lucky that way. It just doesn't mean that I don't even know where I'm going with this tonight. I'm just really, hey, there's nights where it's just the fact that my story is different from other people because I chose duty and honor to be by my kids, and despite the fact that, you know, my husband had had a stroke 10 years ago and was in long-term care, I raised my children by myself. And until the day he died, I was my children's parent first and my husband's wife until he passed. And I've had so many people tell me, I don't know how you've done it, I don't know how you've done it. And it's like, I got lonely, I got tired, I got, fed up. But the bottom line is when I chose to have children, I chose to have children. And that was my responsibility. And I don't put that on anybody else. Everybody's doing their own thing. But it wasn't easy.
Oh, no, that's very commendable. I mean, in this day and age, I mean, you see people leave for the slightest things, and, you know, the health deteriorates. I mean, we were having a conversation in another chat the other day, and they were just telling stories about, you know, military situations and how many women just leave when the guys are coming back from deployment and just, you know, but the fact that you knew it was going to be a long-term situation and you represented and you carried yourself a certain way, that's going to carry over into your children. Your son's going to see that, well, this is the type of wife that I need. She needs to be at least, you know, meet these same standards and be loyal to me as, you know, my mom was. Your daughter will see that, you know, hey, this is how I should carry myself as a woman, you know, and she, like, that passes down the good values when they can see that firsthand. But
if we're going to be honest, even though it's not Sunday Night Confessions, I didn't know how long it was going to be. Coming up on the 18th of this month, it'll be 10 years since his original stroke. And he was in long-term care for 10 years. I literally raised the kids by myself. Every week I was there with him because he was in a situation where he was over an hour away from us. And the first summer that he was put in the long-term care, my kids were like, well, why aren't you dating? And I'm like, I'm married. You know, just because of the fact that your dad's had a stroke and he's not able to be home doesn't give me the right to go step out. And the fact is I needed my kids to know that there are still good people out there, and that you make a choice and you raise your children on the value that you want them to have. Not they copy and they mimic what they see. It's not do as I say, they do as you do. And if I didn't want my children, you know, stepping out and not doing the right thing, then I could have gone and had a man through here every week if I wanted to. Did I choose not to? Absolutely. You know, the second highest rate of possibly having sexual situations in your home is bringing somebody else in. And I was not going to have anybody hurting my kids. And it's not for everybody. You know, there are a lot of people who have had second marriages. There are a lot of people who, you know, for whatever reason, you know, chose to do different things. This is just something I chose to do because I wanted to do that right by my family. And now if I choose to want to go out and date or whatever, I will. I'm not ready to do that, but at some point I will. But this was the honor and the value that I was raised with, so this is what I'm going with what I know. And I believe me, I've had a lot of my gal pals say to me, hey, we wouldn't blame you if you know, dipped and dabbed and just came back. And it's like, that's just not my thing. And I'm okay with that. You know, how do you get through that? Well, it's going to the gym. It's thinking about the kid you get to pick up from football practice, or the daughter you get to drop off at soccer, or, you know, it's like, okay, what's for dinner? And by the time you finish that, there isn't a hell of a lot more time as a single parent for that. So when you had ever said that the mother sent the kid out to look for the brother, I didn't even think twice about that being kind of funny. However, not knowing all the circumstances, it could have been something else. You know, if you're doing 500 things, you get 3 kids, and one of them's outside, you send the other one looking because you're still doing something else.
But my thing with her was that, you know, she originally went out there to go look, and, you know, only looked for a short period of time, then went back in and then sent the other kid. I mean, like I say, it's at that point to me, if you think something is wrong and that is your child, you know, have the other kids help you look. But don't go back inside and send the other kid out while you just sit there and wait and hope that he finds his brother. Like, you know, you're in a strange place, or like I said, you know, they just got a hotel or whatever, and you sent him outside for a task that you sent him out there to go do, and he hadn't came back. I think, you know, that's where she as a mother needs to go and figure out what's going on.
And I hear you, too, because that comes under parental intuition, too. It's like, yeah, there's something not right. And as a parent, I can definitely say I've had that once or twice and said, we need to take care of this. And I had to, you know, that was my thing as a parent. And it was like nobody was going to tell me otherwise, and I was on point with it. So, yeah, I hear you about that. But the thing is everybody is going to make their choices. And like I have said from pretty much day one, you know, if you can't deal with the consequences, don't do the crime. You know, if you are not ready to have a child, don't lay down with a man or a woman. You know, if you're not ready to get married, then don't make that choice. But if you're ready to do that, then know as much as you can about what that commitment is, because it's not just 18 years. It's a life commitment with children.
Correct. I agree. And that's what I said, you know. I could never imagine having to do that over and over again. I mean, it happens. You just never know. Sometimes you get a partner that's toxic, whatever it is. But I always said if I had to do it, it would be one time, and that's it. You stuck with me.
Well, I will say this, too. I do absolutely commend the parents who have had toxic partners who have had to actually be the single parents, whether it's the single moms or the single dads, because of the fact that they didn't want that toxicity in their home. I got to give a lot of credit for that, because that's not easy doing it that way either. You know, and still stepping up to the plate and being that parent. It's not easy.
I agree. You know, and again, it's a job in itself. Parenting is a job, so you know, you have to get a level of respect for those who are doing it right.
Well, the thing is that it's not always a matter of doing it right. It's being present when you're with your children. You know, because nobody's perfect, and I'm far from being perfect. But it's being present with them and them knowing that you're there and you're emotionally available for them when they need you there. That is probably extremely key in every parenting situation I've had with my kids. And that's just my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. Well, it's a good story, so I'm glad that you are.
All right, and this is a great new year, and let's figure out who's next.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call, Ms. Bell. Class in session. The bell has rung. Thank you for calling.
All right, good night.
Have a good evening. Kenneth, I'm out of there. Like, I couldn't tell you the last time I lifted someone. I'll break your bitch ass. Sit your little young ass down. So there's a difference between grown man strength and little nigga I just touched the weight strength. You gotta put a few more years on them barbells. Kenneth. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got called into the den this evening?
Man, it's your boy Roman.
Roman Reigns. Happy New Year, Roman Reigns. What's on your mind, man? How are you this evening?
Oh, man, Honcho, I'm depressed, man.
You just started.
Wait, let me tell you why, man. Because I have fallen off, man. I've fallen off. I used to be number one on every day, and what number am I? Fourth?
Yeah, you like number 4, man.
I fell off, man. I don't know, man. I'm flipping, man. I'm flipping out here.
That's tough.
But, nah, it ain't gonna matter. 2020 my year. I'm coming back. Coming back.
Coming back for the crown. Okay.
Oh, you already know. I got the cheat code. I just haven't been using it. I've been trying to be nice to everybody, but nah, I ain't being nice no more, man.
Okay.
I'm just playing on. I'm playing on. I love everybody in the den. But, you know, about this topic, I don't have kids, Honcho.
Good.
And I ain't trying to have none anytime soon.
Yeah, you should. You definitely should.
So, yeah. So, I'm not going to talk about me. I'm talking about, like, my parents and all that, and, like, basically how it feels about the young people. So, I'll say this for that. When it comes to having 2 parents or one, I'm kind of in the mix about that because, you know, my dad was in my life. I mean, he was there all when I was younger and all that. And when about the time I was 10 or 11, he'd been there. It's just, you know, my dad was he had an alcohol problem. He was alcoholic. And it just became a going back and forth type situation. You know, he'll be good for a couple months, a couple weeks, and he'll go back. And you know, it'll get crazy, Honcho. I mean, I've had to fight my dad. Police have got called. A lot of crazy things have happened. You know, with me, my brothers, my sisters. But what I'm trying to say is that it can happen because I know a lot was put on my mom that it was a lot that she went into this marriage, especially having kids with 2 people, and to kind of it being cut into somewhat 1.5, you know, with the alcohol, it's hard. But I think she did a good job. You know, she's always taught us to be who we want to be, and she always taught us that, hey, look, you gotta do what you gotta do out here. You get what I mean? And my dad ain't all the way out my life. I mean, I talk to him here and there. I just called him a couple days ago, you know. But it's always it's sad, Honcho, because sometimes I don't know if I'm going to get, you know, him. I'm going to get alcohol. Him. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very confusing. But I have them in my life. But what I'm trying to say is basically it can be done with one parent. because I've never been to jail, Honcho. I have nothing on my I don't have a crime sheet. I have nothing. I do everything. I make A's and B's. I do everything I need to do. And my mom has taught me that. And I could have been a statistic, with my dad being an alcoholic, being in and out of the house, but I didn't. So what I'm trying to say, it can be done. And I know everything about being dude. Like I said, my dad, I could still talk to him about that stuff. So it's not all the way out there, but some things I have had to learn by myself, or by other people, or by my brother. So, like I say, it can be done. It's hard, but it can be done. So, that's one thing. But when it comes,
hold on one second, Roman. I don't mean to cut you off real quick, Roman. But see, there's a difference though. Kenneth, Roman's the president. You ain't shit, nigga. You over there talking about quitting. You talking about quitting your extracurricular activity. Roman over there, he's stacking up resume. He's stacking his resume up. So when he fills out his college application, he actually got something on there. Your shit gonna say I quit. Go ahead, Roman. I'm sorry about that. Don't let these peasants.
Don't do Kenneth like that. I fuck with Kenneth. But what was I about to say? I think it's one thing, Honcho, that listening to Miss Grace thing. I think Miss Grace, man, she getting it number one, number two. She trying to steal my spot. I see her. And then Miss Bell, I forgot what number Miss Bell was. I think number 3. Just they in my spot, but I'm gonna get there. But I think what it is, Honcho, it's an age gap in my opinion. I think it's a gap of respect. You get what I mean? I think the two age gaps, like the millennials and like they say, the boomers and all that, there's a lack of respect on both sides, in my opinion. And it's not for everybody. And I think it's a self-entitlement on both sides. Because I think some older people feel like, well, I deserve respect for what I've done and what I have paved the way for you to be here. While I think a lot of millennials and younger people feel like, you know what, damn, like, I worked hard just as much, and I don't owe everything to you, because just as much good you might have left, you left a lot of bad, too. So it becomes an argument of who's right and who's wrong. And I think it's a lack of, when you get to older people, where, I don't respect you because you haven't been in my shoes. And younger people are like, well, damn, I'm a person, too, so where should the respect be? And I just don't think, I think it's a lack of respect and understanding of the two age gaps. I kind of had examples. It's kind of like me and my grandma. Like, I love my grandma, but I don't think my grandma really respects me as a person, because I think she feels like, I'm younger than her. You get what I mean? And I'm not expecting no grand respect like if I walk in. But just, like, good example, when you're having a conversation, right? And I have my opinion, she has her opinion, and feel like she kind of overwhelms and kind of, like, makes her opinion right, and my opinion doesn't matter. Stuff like tiny things, what I mean by no respect. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Is like, I don't think it's a respect factor there. Because in her eyes, I haven't been in her shoes. And I think that creates a big negative of why you have these statistics, and why you have these people who feel like to rebel, and to why you have so much of this non-peace, because it's a non-respect factor, and just a lack of knowledge of understanding each other, So, but I don't know. That's how I feel.
I mean, I feel you, and I get it. But again, like, when a person has lived some time on this earth, I mean, it automatically comes with the territory. And I think that's part of the reason why I feel like a lot of society is where it is now. And I know y'all may feel offended by it, but you do have a lot of adults, society, whatever, focused on what the kids are doing. And that's why a lot of this foolishness and a lot of this dumb stuff is going on, because we're all trying to remain forever young. We want to, what are the kids? We're putting kids and youth on a pedestal when they don't have experience, when they should be looking to the older, the matriarchs and patriarchs of the family to understand and get information. Because here's the thing. Like, y'all may have some knowledge about certain things, but there's nothing new under the sun. So that means the dressing may change, but it's going to still be the same situation. So again, like, they've experienced it. You may have heard about it, or you may have some awareness of it, but 9 times out of 10, you may or may not have experienced, depending on what the subject of the matter is. But they have. And so that's why I say it's just sometimes you just got to just let them have it, soak it up. get what you can get out of it. You know, sometimes the easiest way to win a conflict or win a disagreement is just to not disagree at all and just let people feel like, you know, they're right about whatever it may be, and then, you know, go on about your part. If you know for a fact that you are correct about something, there's no point in arguing about it. If you know that you're right, then you're right, and you'll be okay. But, you know, if they don't want to hear it, then it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I've learned that trick already, huh? So I do that now. I mean, look, she's a Cowboy fan. And you know how Cowboy fans act. They feel like they right about everything.
Nah, don't listen to your grandma. She tripping, man.
So, you know, I've learned just, even when she's 100% wrong, hey, yeah, you right. But I get what you mean. I just feel like, you know what, it's a lot that the older generation can learn from the younger generation, too. You get what I mean? Because going into this new time of especially technology, hey, y'all need to learn. Y'all need to know some things from us. We can help y'all. And I like to say just understanding that we matter too. You know, but hey, I ain't gonna go for too long, man. And man, that's my call, man. Happy New Year to everybody. Like I say, 2020 is the Dean year, and we gonna keep moving, man.
Already. I appreciate the call there, Mr. Roman.
Man, anytime, man. I've been you got me on here for 46 minutes, man. I'm tired of that wait.
You was on. Oh, damn. I apologize for that. That's tough.
Oh, come on, man. I am loyal. But, man, forget about it, man. I'll talk to you later, Honcho.
All right, Roman, man. I appreciate your call, man, and Happy New Year's to you, man.
Man, you too, man.
All right. Man, I'm kind of cut him off a little bit there. Shelly, you already said that corny joke once. We don't want to hear that corny joke twice. I saw it the first time. It was corny the first time. That's why I ain't acknowledged it. So it's cornier the second time. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got called into the den this evening?
Hey, Honcho. It's Misty. How are you doing?
Dream Barbie, how are you this evening?
Well, I didn't get to hear the phone calls because I was on hold, you know, to get to talk to you. But suicide is a very, I guess you'd say, personal subject to me. It's one of those things that goodness, where do you really start? You know, when you work in the nursing field, you're around all sorts of patients. You know, you're around, they don't just have medical problems, they might have mental problems too, you know. And it goes hand in hand. I don't think that depression is any different than blood pressure problems. I don't think that schizophrenia is any different than diabetes. I mean, they're all medical problems that have to be resolved, you know, or not resolved, but maybe treated with medication or whatever have you to be done with it. And I remember when I was in nursing school, a guy came to talk to us before we did our rotations on psych. And he told me something, or I felt like he was talking to us personally, that basically any day that your life changes in a different direction that you might not can handle, or a lot of things go wrong or whatever, we're all subject to become, you know, depressed or have a mental issue. I mean, we're all one step away from being just like those people that we want to judge, you know. And so it definitely, working with them, and also I've worked with adolescents, I've worked with children ages 5 to 12, I've worked with geriatric patients that have depression and stuff, the whole, you know, the whole list basically of the numbers of people. And it just doesn't take that much. I mean, we're all subject to be in the same positions they're in. And when I say that, I mean, you know, something bad enough could happen that it could kind of push you over the edge, and you could be, you know, depressed to that level where you need some help. And I think that is one of the things that is really hard for some people to understand, that depression, schizophrenia, all those different things are no different than diabetes or anything else. They've got to be treated the same. And they're all considered in a medical condition. they're all considered that way. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so if you think about it like this, and I wanted to say this so that everybody could hear it in there because it's such a serious subject. If you think about it like this, if you think about one of the worst possible things happening to you, and you maybe you're stronger than some people, and you can control it, and you can be okay. But if not, you might have to seek some help. So judge you not, for you may be judged too. You may be judging, but then the next thing you know, you're in that same circumstance, because we don't know what can put us over the edge. We don't know, losing your child. There was a lady that used to come in every single anniversary of her child being gone, got killed in a car accident, because she couldn't really stand it. And as people, we do need more money going toward, help with mental illness. We need more people to pay attention. We need to pay attention to our family members, checking in with them, making sure that they're okay, just a lot of things. I've known of a lady that I took care of. I mean, it really broke me down. There was a lady that I took care of when I worked in Geri Psych. Geri Psych means geriatric psychiatric patients. She was only about 60-something maybe, though, because it starts with Geri Psych starts with age 60 and up. And she said, when I get out of here, I'm still going to kill myself. And her husband had signed a petition to have her put in because she was a risk, harm to herself and maybe to other people. And she had been through a lot of different things, about getting treatment. When they finally did release her, to go home, she was in our what's called our day program, which is where you come like Monday through Friday during the day, and you do a lot of classes and different things on coping mechanisms and things that you can do to deal with your depression, anxiety, and things like that. The day her husband dropped her off, he called back up there, and he said that he was a little bit worried about her because, she was acting a little stranger than normal. Well, the first break that they had at 10 o'clock that morning, she walked out. They had a break at 10 o'clock. I think their classes started at 8, and it was about maybe 8 to 2. Around 10 o'clock, she walked out, and she just put her foot over the side of that bridge thing that they have that's outside there, and she fell about 50 feet, and she was gone. And she was serious. And maybe in that case there was nothing else that could have been done. I mean, she stayed in the hospital for 3 or 4 months. She was doing all kinds of, her husband signed for her to try to do those electric shock treatments, which I don't agree with. As a nurse, some people say they work perfectly for them, but I don't necessarily agree with, it's called, it's electric shock treatments, but there's a different name for it. It's not coming to me right now what it's called, but they put you to sleep and make your brain have a seizure, and it's supposed to affect the parts of the brain that deal with depression and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I really don't agree with that particular type of treatment. I don't think that I would want that from a family member of mine. But I just know that, we're all, I agree with what that young man said to me 20-something odd years ago. And I felt like it was personally toward me because I've dealt with so many patients, and I do have such a level of patience that, patience meaning, calmness and things like that I can actually deal with the patients and stuff like that. And that's a pretty good field for me, because not just because they're calling me crazy, and they are, but because I do have the ability to talk to people sometimes. And I don't know, it's such a touchy subject. We really, really need help. And in the case of that mom, I did not get to watch the video of the mom, but she may not have been taking it serious enough with the changes and things that she was seeing in him. But when you do start seeing changes in people, sometimes, I mean, and especially with him being 17, she could have taken him to the hospital and she could have made him stay because she had the right to, if you're under the age, you have to be 19 and under. They can physically, a parent can physically make you stay, in the hospital and make you get treatment. Now, is that going to change everything? No, I don't know that it would, but it would give him a chance to rethink, what he was thinking about, giving up on, So we don't know, but it is so important to take it seriously because, we just don't know. Do you have any questions?
No, and like I say, because I did want to kind of expand more on that story and kind of onto the mental illness topic because the mental illness has come up the last couple of days from various things, from calls that were made and some comments that were made on some of those calls. So we're definitely gonna talk more about it tomorrow. But I appreciate you sharing that experience. It's very sad. I think once the mind gets set on doing something, I don't know how much there is that you can really do to stop it. And it's very unfortunate about that lady.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, once their mind kind of gets made up, that's what they're going to do. It's just like me trying to tell you to go cut your dreads off.
Yeah, good luck with that.
If you're not ready. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're not going to do it, then if you're dead set on having it, then that's the way it is. I mean, you may be by putting that young man in the hospital, she could have delayed the inevitable. That's what his plan was. That was his way out of the situation of whatever he felt like was worse than being alive or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I just the main thing to know is also just never forget that you're one step away from being, I'm not talking about you personally, but anybody, one step away from being, who knows, depression or whatever, it's truly real. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there.
Correct.
And, just keep in mind, like I said, check on family. And also, like I said, I'll say it again, don't forget, that all of us are just one step away from, we don't know what could push us over the edge, to make us be depressed and then go down, 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 So anyway, it's like a spiral. But thank you so much for talking to me, and I just wanted to share that.
All right. Well, Miss Misty, like I said, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you tomorrow if you're available when we get on the topic. If nothing else major happens, but I do plan on talking about it more tomorrow, so it would be great if you had some other things to share. I'll look forward to hearing it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. That's unfortunate because I was sitting here and thinking about it, right? Like, if you're gonna off yourself, wouldn't you think like I'd probably try to choose the easy way, just to walk off a bridge? That's terrible. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got called into the den this evening?
Hey, this is Cultured again.
All right, Mr. Culture, how are you this evening?
Hey, man, I just wanted to try another sound check, give it a shot.
Okay. All right.
All right, let me know if you hear this real quick.
Okay. Yes.
Can you hear that?
Yes, sir. Definitely can hear.
Okay. Well, I was going to end my call originally with a song that I'd like to dedicate to my sweet baby girl, Big Mommy Rashida. And here's the song.
Oh man. Y'all have no idea. Y'all have no idea what I'm thinking right now. Oh, I will try my damnedest to share in a minute. What's the motherfucking deal? Calling into the den this evening.
Hi, Honcho. It's Shannon.
Oh, terrible. Hello, Shannon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's to you, Shannon. How are you? How is life treating you? How was your New Year's, Miss Shannon?
It's been good. I ate too many black eyed peas, though. I think I'm about to be sick.
I mean, one of you from Kansas City said the food it tastes like shit. So whatever you would have eaten would have been bad.
Oh, whatever. But yeah, on a serious note, yeah, that's a tough one. Because, as far as family goes, I make sure to try my best to keep in touch with all of my family, even if they get on my damn nerves most of the time.
And why would your family get on your nerves?
Because we're just different. Just, like, we talk about mentality and everything, and baby's mamas, baby's daddies. And half of them are older than me, and they're proud of being a baby mama, being a baby daddy, and all that shit. And I get tired of their calls. And then we talk about toxic parents. I just feel sorry for my sister, though.
No, which sister? Is this the sister that was a
The
young
one I
the
told you
entrepreneur? The we will call her the young entrepreneur.
Yeah, we'll just call her that.
Okay.
If that's what you want to say.
Yeah, we'll
Because
use
she
that
was
terminology.
raised. Because I had my mom when my dad took off. My dad decided, he didn't want to be a father and those kind of bullshit like that. Anyway, like, he decided he didn't want to claim any of his shit. He had no involvement in me and my brother's upbringing. It was my mom. My mom did everything on her own. And my sister, though, she had my dad involved in her life, and look how she turned out.
What kind of dad was he?
A piss poor dad.
Okay. So, I mean, well, that goes to show you.
And she didn't have a good mother either, because they just dumped her off on everybody.
Oh, that's part of
Didn't
it.
matter who it was.
But I mean,
If something happened, they called her the child from hell, Satan, and just passed her around back and forth or dumped her off on anybody.
well,
They didn't really give a fuck.
do you think
And
that
look
has
how she
something to
is.
do with her behavior now? Because if they were passing her around and now she, a street entrepreneur, we'll call it that. I mean, do you think that that's part of it? I mean, they're just dropping her here, dropping her there. So I mean, there's no real love, even though that those parents were involved. They weren't truly involved. It's not like it was consistent. If you're dropping them over here, you're dropping over there, pick them up or whatever. Like, so she's getting passed around, and now she behaves in the streets in the way that she does. So I wouldn't even call that.
Yeah, it's got a lot to deal with it because, like I said, the kids that are not even biologically my father's, and I look at their behavior too because he had a dealing in their upbringing too, and one of them is now in prison for murder.
That's tough. That's very unfortunate.
So, like, I got lucky because I had my mom. My mom, I didn't already share everything. I told a lot of things about my mom and everything that she went through and everything, and I got lucky and everything.
I guess you could call it luck. I call it very dangerous, but whatever.
It's not dangerous.
Whatever. You're stabbing people out of your sleep, cutting people up and sewing them up and shit, and you said another crazy story. She said, your mom is.
That's his fault because he slapped her while she was pregnant.
Well, sometimes you gotta slap a pregnant woman. I mean, come on now.
You slap a pregnant woman while she's 8 months pregnant?
Yeah, you gotta. Anything before 9 is okay.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm trying to be serious, and you made me laugh. No, that's all I can.
But no, but I mean, but seriously though, it's like it's unfortunate. Why? So you say this? What side of the family would you say this predominantly on, or does this run on both sides of your family?
Predominantly of the wrong comes from my dad's side of the family. And a lot of it has to do with their mother. Because I already shared that, my grandma on dad's side of the family, she had Stockholm. And a lot of the mental problems that she has down to her children.
Okay.
And so it's like an ongoing thing. And it's a little backwards on that side of the family because my dad's brothers and everything, besides the one that took off the moment he turned 18, just took off, ghosted, and whatnot. Like, I talk to him, but he doesn't talk to that other side of the family.
So,
But,
if you're aware of this, do you think the rest of your family is aware of the kind of the mental illness that's kind of permeating that side of the family?
No, because when I was telling you that I'm tired of hearing that's the white people bullshit and everything, I hear it a lot. Not just from other black people, but I hear it a lot from that side of the family too.
So they just think it's naturally crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, being crazy
Like,
is normal, basically.
It's don't talk about it. It happened, didn't kill you, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Doesn't exist.
Do you think that's part of the problem that they don't talk about it and that's what's causing the issues?
I think it is.
So if you
And then these mental problems get out of hand because I shared with you that because of these mental problems that my grandma passed down to one of her children, she had a son get killed because he had this warped sense that if a woman was yelling at him or screaming at him or even anything, that meant she loved him. And it got to the point where he was stalking this one woman so bad to the point where she had to kill him in order to protect her life.
Damn. I'm gonna be honest, Shannon, you should write a fucking book.
I ain't trying to do like that. Tyler Perry writes too many stories based off his family. I ain't trying to do that.
Well, he look where we got him. Fucking filthy rich. So maybe you should do the same thing. You would have, a never-ending supply of stories. Like, you don't have to base the characters, like, you don't have to name them, like, but you could take it and spin it a little bit. But I think you'd have a nice ghetto love story series that you could write, and niggas would eat that shit up. But eventually it gets turned into some B-rated movies, and then there you, what the hell are you watching in the background?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm in my room watching Law and Order.
Dun, dun.
I watch a lot of these crime shows.
That explains a lot.
Why?
No, just explains a lot. Okay. So, what else is on your mind, Miss Shannon?
Oh, what were we just talking about? Yeah, I wouldn't do that to my family.
About what they did on Law and Order?
Hell. No, I wouldn't write books about my family. Hell, half the stuff my family does. I'm lucky I ain't been drugged to the bottle.
But you are a bit of alcoholic. But my thing is like, why not? I mean, these are stories. I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be verbatim. It doesn't have to be exactly what happened. But you could take this plethora of problems, make it profitable. Then you can buy health care or mental health care for these people in your family, and maybe you end up, by telling their stories in a different format, you end up being able to help them.
I don't know, because half of them don't even want to take their medicine.
But what does that have to? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, you really, if they don't want to get the help, then you just keep the money.
I don't know. I take care of them enough when I help them out when they need help with something. And it's always something, but yeah. I don't know, because, like, When I talk about my cousins are older than me, and they should be being the one giving me the advice and helping me out and everything. But
Yeah.
and they're proud of being baby
But
mamas.
they're definitely giving you
That's some
advice.
random
They're giving
punk-ass
you
nigga.
they're giving you the advice that you know what not to do. So they
I know.
definitely helping you out there. So
Yeah, I can definitely say that. But I do, as much as they drive me crazy, I do try to check on them as much as I can. I do call, I do keep in contact, I do go over there a lot of the time when I'm in Kansas City or some drop off after work or something like that, just to see how they're doing, just to check on them, just to talk to them and know what, is going through their mind half the time. And as much as I spend a lot of time angry at my dad, I do care about him, and I do ask about him, even though I don't talk to him. But I do ask about him because my mom talks to him.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, are you going to continue? Like, again, whatever they say, the people you hang around most, you end up being one of them. Would you say you hang around your family the most, or do you have other associations that you deal with more than your family?
I have other associations that I deal with more than my family. I don't hang around them the most like that. I do keep in contact with them through social media because most of them don't have a phone, so it's like most of them are so spread out and everything. So the ones that I'm unable to visit, I do keep in contact with them through social media and whatnot. And I spend a lot of time with my mom's side of the family sometimes. But even when I'm hanging out with them, I mostly just stay close to my elders, if it makes sense.
I don't know. Your elders sound like they're crazy too. So I'm really trying to figure.
No, they're not crazy. They just don't put up with bullshit. But that's a whole nother kettle of fish.
What?
But I mean, like, I just mean, like, I stick mostly to my elders, listening to them, talking to them, and learning from them. Because let me tell you, some of my cousins, even my female cousins, I'll be like, I am not going to learn nothing from her. I'm just not.
Shannon.
Yes.
What the fuck is a kettle of fish?
Hmm?
What the fuck is a kettle of
It's a
fish?
saying. Don't even pay attention. Don't even pay attention to what I'm saying. That is a saying. Just whatever. Just ignore what I said.
No, how's it going to be?
But yeah,
How's it going to be a saying? But we got to ignore what you just said. It cannot be ignored. It's a thing now. You just been quote at it. So I mean, now it's a thing. You're all right, Rob. But what? So it's a whole nother kettle of fish. Like, so where's the first kettle of fish? If this is another kettle, I'm not even going to go there with you right now.
I don't even know where that came from. That was something that one of my elders always said.
These are the elders that you're listening to?
Stuck with me.
These are the elders that you're listening to. Don't stop listening to your elders. Stop listening to your family. Just.
It was no. It was something that an elderly person always said that used to be around. So
an elderly person where they
just
see now?
Whatever. It just kind of. No, they weren't senile. It's just things that they said that just kind of stuck. So
how many times did they say this?
Came to mind.
Right,
they ain't saying it no more. They're dead, Honcho.
But you're saying it now, so obviously it's stuck around.
Yeah, because I heard it a lot. What does it matter? That has nothing to do with the phone call.
That has everything to do with the phone call. This whole phone call is now about kettle of fish.
Just Happy New Year's, everybody, and I hope y'all had a good time, and I hope y'all are safe and everything, and I love y'all in the den.
We love you too, Shannon.
Some of you more than others.
You have a good evening.
But I'm on my way home.
Adios.
Well, I'm at home, but I'm going to Mom's house.
Shannon, go.
Second home.
Just Have a good evening. I appreciate your call.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, poor Shannon. Whew. I'm gonna take some of these quotes and put them on some shirts. That's where we're at, and let's see if what I thought is coming to fruition. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's Rashida.
Hello, Miss Rashida. How are you this evening?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's to you too. How much eggnog did you have?
I didn't have that much, but I heard you and your little friend up there laughing with the song and shit. Think it's funny.
Now, see, the song is not what I'm laughing at. There was an idea that I was having as the song was playing that made it quite humorous. But
I really couldn't hardly hear the song anyway, and it was whack and dumb and cultured. I just wanted to tell you to keep my name out your motherfucking mouth. It's a whole new year. You know I don't like you. You don't like me. You stay on your side of the den. I'll stay on my side of the den. That's it, and that's all. I'm not going to be going back and forth with you on nothing, period. So leave me alone, you damn weirdo. Who the hell go look up songs for people?
Well, what if it was a polite song to match the lovely serenade that you gave us the other day?
I didn't want no matching song. Leave me the fuck alone. That match that. Leave me alone.
Okay. So something we've been talking about tonight, Miss Rashid, and I would love to have your opinion on. What are your thoughts on a whole nother kettle of fish?
I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't either. I'm still trying to figure it out. I wonder maybe if you have heard it before. I have never heard it. I think it's something that is relatively new to.
And Josh, you leave me the fuck alone too, 'cause you know I don't like your ugly ass either. And I don't think you doing is sitting up here cheerleading with your gay ass. Where was you at on LGBT night? Stop fucking playing with me. Now, anyway. Yeah, mine always start the new year off.
You working on it. You still working on it. Just because it's a new year don't mean you got it all the way down. You still working on yourself. We still all working on ourselves. So, yeah, as long as you ain't making it.
I can see it's gonna be a long year right now.
Okay.
Man, they trying to see that weed in Illinois for too much.
No, you ain't gonna try to buy a sack. What they hitting for?
They talking about 5 grams for about $300.
Oh, hell no.
I know. Right. I know that's too damn much.
Yeah,
I got the fan poochie.
That's tough. Yeah, that's definitely a different situation. And 5 grams, that better be magic weed. That shit better give you the fucking winning lotto numbers or some shit. I don't even know.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous. I've never heard of such a thing. Okay.
All these different taxes and shit they put on it, it's crazy.
Yeah, I keep that shit. Okay. So
people were still standing outside in the cold waiting.
Oh, and it's cold out there? Nah.
Yeah, it's cold. Shit. It's Chicago.
I like kettle chips. I don't like kettle fish. But so here's my thing, right? Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about this situation with the young man earlier, and you said, it's not the single parent situation, it's the mental illness thing. Okay. And mental illness is true, it is real. But this young man had no bouts of this until, just a couple of days ago. And again, what they were saying is that it increased significantly, or she was saying that, I guess, she blamed it on him talking to his dad somehow. But, most people were saying that he was having some frustration. She also talked about how he was so concerned about how she was going to fare, considering that she had no place to live. He had his 2 younger brothers. And again, he's going to be taken care of at college, going by graduating early and all this. And so this is the stuff that put this burden on his mind. And then she talked about something, he was in the car talking to her, and he was trying, that was another thing. He was trying to hold her hand, and she wouldn't hold his hand because she said she was stressing about her own stuff. So that's why I say I had some issues about what the mom was, the way she handled it. Like, as she told the story, words out of her mouth, I don't think she did.
And where was his father?
Huh? She told the father that she didn't want to talk to him. Apparently, he had a phone call with him a couple of days before, and then the mom said that she called the dad and told him that she wished that he wouldn't be in their life. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what that whole situation. Obviously, he had some way to contact his dad, but I don't know.
Put her to prison.
Yeah.
Because at that age, she can't say. And he, what, about a year away from being 18?
Can't forget the den.
Yes.
Like 17.
Yeah, 17.
Right. It wasn't nothing she can.
But I mean, with him still
why-
being in high school,
Why he didn't go? He should have went. He should have went to stay with his father then.
But that's what I'm wondering about that. I mean, like I say, I think more details may probably come out with that. But my thing is, but if she saw firsthand that there were some changes, and because she said he was talking to her, and she was just like, she could tell he was different, but she just blamed it on the dad. Why don't you think she took more action to try to see why her son was responding this way?
I don't feel like you could save a mentally ill person. I feel like it's always going to be a next crisis. They get through that, then it's going to be something
But
else.
what I'm saying, if this is the first incident that he's ever had, then shouldn't that be of some concern? If he's never had behaved or acted like this before, this is the first time, like, shouldn't there be some level of concern? Why is my child, who's always been one way, obviously had to be intelligent to graduate early and take care of his business, go to college early and do all these things. Now all of a sudden he's flipping out and he's talking about, she's saying, well, he's worried about me and, his little brothers and all this other stuff. Like, why don't you think she tried to take that situation a bit more seriously? And I know she had other stresses going on, being homeless and trying to find a place to stay and all that other stuff. But if you see a dramatic change in your child, shouldn't that signal a red flag?
Yeah, but I can't speak on why she didn't do this and why she didn't do that. And this ain't even the time for it, because she's grieving the loss of her child. And the last thing she needs is for people to be trying to put the blame on her. At least let her bury her child. And then, people can talk about this and that. But I think when it comes to mental illness, that's something completely different from the way that the person is living their life. Because there's people with wonderful lives and still commit suicide.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I feel like that it's just something in a man that's not working right.
But do you believe that?
I don't know how her helping him have a better life would have saved him. I feel like, okay, if she had corrected that situation, down the line it was just going to be something else.
But the thing is, would you say that stress can create mental illness in people? A high level of stress?
Yeah, I believe it can help exacerbate your mental illness. But at the end of the day, you got to be treated for that mental illness, and I think that's something they need to focus on. How do you really fix mental illness?
But now, would you say though? But would you agree that, and what I was saying about certain young men, and I would say young women too. What's the motherfucking deal? Compton conservative, and I agree with that. That they're put in situations where they're expected to be adults when they're still basically children because of the decisions that their parents made.
A lot of people go through that, and they still don't commit suicide.
But don't you think people handle things differently?
That's not an exceptional situation.
But suicide is not always. But suicide is not the only outcome of mental illness, though. It's one possible outcome, but people break down. People lose certain functions.
Depression. I know people. I mean, it can cause depression, but suicide is so final. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To a temporary problem. And I didn't agree with Misty when she said that everybody is one step away from suicide. I don't agree with that.
But I don't think she was saying suicide. I think she was saying more with mental illness or having these depressions. I don't think. I don't. Yeah. No. I mean,
I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with that either.
I don't know. Like I said, I think the right trauma can impact anybody. I've told, like I said, I'm gonna talk more about it tomorrow. Like I wouldn't say I was suicidal. I've never been at that point. But mine was a series of traumas repeatedly, one after another.
I do feel I don't understand why mental illness is not talked about as much in our community as it should. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand we don't have a high rate of it, but it still needs to be talked about.
Shit, that's the problem. See, that's the thing, and I think a lack of understanding about it. Because I think there's a very high amount of mental illness in the Black community, but we just dismiss it.
No, I said a high rate of suicide. I didn't say mental illness.
Okay, suicide.
Mental illness. Look, it's undiagnosed, so we off the charts. Because I even feel like I'm a little,
But
off the rails a little bit sometimes. Because I had be getting this anger, and I don't know. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I definitely think it's some bipolar issues with me. So. But and now you're gonna say, well, why you didn't go talk to nobody about it? No, I don't know that either.
But because, like I said, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the mom's video in which because she basically, like I said out her mouth. But if you can, like I said, I suggest you because I think it gave a very good insight on the perspective. And again, like I said, she had her own litany of problems. But my thing is, yeah, his mother. Yes, she had like a little Facebook Live or something. She did. And so, like, she had.
I'm gonna have to go watch that because I didn't even know nothing about the story until I saw your video. Excuse me, earlier.
Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, I watched that video and I felt like there was a level of, and again, like I said, I feel bad saying it that way because she's going through so much. But at the same time, it's like I believe as a parent, you put your kids first, and I felt like there was a level of selfishness in that video when she basically said her son was freaking out and trying to talk to her, trying to hold her hand. She didn't want to hold his hand, and he just had a bunch of like. I don't care if you're on your period. I don't care about any of that other stuff. Like your child, who may be going away in a few days, you have to recognize something has changed, something is different, and you're dismissing what he had going on, kind of for your own. If you're talking, I had a headache and I had this and this and this, and I get it. Women, y'all go through things. Thank God I'm not one. I would never want to deal with that. But these are your children. And if you see something different on that level.
By us not knowing much about mental illness and suicide and everything, all we can do is speculate as to what would have happened and what could have happened and this had happened. You know what I'm saying? That's why we all need to be more educated on this.
I agree.
So I guess we'll be tuning in tomorrow.
Yeah,
I wish we had an expert or something, to shed more light on the subject because I definitely would like to know. Would like to know more.
Yeah, like I say, it's just again, I'll see if I can because I took all my social media off my phones because, like I say, 2020, I'm going to get more focused. Like I say, trying to drop more content, do a lot more things, and stop getting distracted by the gram. Instagram be lying to me with the fake notes. Talking about I got messages, I go check shit, don't be no messages, little shit like that. So I'm trying to avoid all the distractions and section certain stuff off at a certain time. But I will try to. Get you the link to that so you can see the video. And like I said, I'd definitely like to know your opinion. Because when I watched it, again, you may see something different. And that's what the den is all about. Everybody have different opinions. But I feel like,
And I respected your opinion, even though I didn't agree with your opinion. Yeah. But you see how respectful I was with my response?
Yes, it was so polite.
That's gross now. If you wasn't Honcho, it would have been a whole nother.
It's all good. I see it. Look, I see it. See, I see it. I've been paying attention. I peep it. No, but absolutely, and that's just
right,
the thing.
I found it. Yeah, but I really, just want to be more knowledgeable. I would say it like that. I really just want to know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I say, I'll shoot you that so you can see. It's about 10 minutes long. It's sad. It was kind of a tough watch, but again, if you don't let the emotional aspect get you and just kind of listen to what she's saying during the story, it's like it just some of it don't sound. I mean, like I say, it's tough. She's homeless. You're living out the car. You're trying to get money together to get a hotel. I understand all the things that's going on, and so I can understand being distracted and all these things. It's just It can be a tough situation.
This is what I don't understand about that. If she's homeless, right?
Yes.
And the father is not homeless, why does he not take the kids?
That's
Are
what
all of them not his? That's what I do not get.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. And that's what I say. I don't know either. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like I say, we're gonna dive deep more into the mental illness aspect of it, because, like I say, this young man obviously, like I said, putting in work to doing what he had to do, and she said,
tragedy, no matter how
yeah,
you look at it, it's a tragedy.
Absolutely.
It's a tragedy.
It absolutely is.
All,
Again, I don't think.
Do is just pray for the family at this point.
Yeah, and I think
that is a terrible loss.
Yeah, she'd have done something different if she knew that it was going to be the outcome.
Like, I think, like, with mental illness, those people don't know how to deal with situations that normal people that go through that all the time go through. Because there's a lot of athletes in Division I schools that are have single mothers. You know what I'm saying? And they not out there killing themselves. So I just feel it's something not connecting up there.
Okay. And I have some thoughts on that too. Like I say, I think people just handle all kinds of things in different ways. Because I think Savage Donald Trump had commented something on that. But I knew guys who were pretty good even back, when I was in college. That was ancient. But these were guys were 4-star recruits, and some of these were well documented when they came on scene. And some guys, they were like, "Fuck this! I'm finna go back home. My people ain't eating good. I'm gonna go back and sell dope. Or I'm gonna go back and do this." And again, some of it could be just whatever. But like they had people not doing well, and some of them never played it down. And so some people feel like it's better to go take care of family, or it's so many issues when it comes to these situations. No two issues are going to be the same, but I think people handle it all in different ways.
Exactly, like some people don't have a real sense of what they look like. You know what I mean? Like what they see is not what other people see, and they feel so bad about how they look, and then they want to do all these different things to themselves. That's an actual disorder. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay. Well, like I say, we gonna deep dive into that. And for everybody, like I say, tomorrow, hopefully we'll have a solid open forum where everybody can talk about issues they may have come out, see what Ms. Dita Gamma is saying, and and we can have these discussions.
I gotta remember the thing started now, because I forget.
Me too. I almost forgot. I forgot the damn sauce was at 6, so I was running late and shit. I was like, damn, I forgot everything moved up. I'm like, damn, I'm doing some awfully hard chilling, and oh shit, I got to get ready for it. And so I slipped up. But like I say, it's about that time for me to get ready to wind it down. And
okay.
But I appreciate your call there, Miss Rashida.
Okay, happy New Year to everybody except Coltrane and Josh. Fuck y'all. Bye.
Oh, goddamn. All right. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
All right. We're going to get ready. That's going to be the end of the day today. Like I say, we're at 9 now. 2 hours. And I got to be strict on that in the new year so that I can be more productive. There's just a lot going on in life that has to be executed. So, yes, the den started at 9 tonight. So from now on, at 9 o'clock, the den at 9 p.m. Central. Excuse me. And just moved it up an hour earlier. And that's something right. And we're 5 days a week instead of 7 days a week now. So I'm going to be taking the weekends off, at least for a while, till I figure some things out and get a few other things in order. But so it's I think I was on time today. Maybe not. But man, I just appreciate y'all. And as we go into this new year, man, like I said, I want to get to where we still have fun in the den. We're always going to have those fun times in the den. But I do want to start touching on more serious topics. Like I said, I'm going to come back with the recorded content. I'm going to try to start dropping at least one video a day as far as the recorded content. I definitely want to get more of it. I apologize for that, Miss Lady Licious. I'm sorry. The mixer crew, look, I'm not going to guarantee anything right now. If anything, maybe, I don't know, maybe do some type of day mixer or something. I don't know. Because like I say, what I'm trying to get back to is is getting to lining up my sleeping habits and things like that, getting a more consistent schedule. That's very important to my productivity, and having things in order. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate Dan the Man and Anonymous, and who is it? Ella Foreign Comb. I messed that up. I done messed it all up. But you also lost your job and your husband because of the dead. Well, damn. That must mean it's a good show. But I'm glad to see you back. Yeah, but I'm finna lay it down, man. I appreciate all of y'all. I'm gonna try to, like I said, I'll try to get the link out. If you're in the Den Show Facebook group, again, all the links in the description below. It is in there. Like I said, I'll maybe pin it to the top or something. But social medias, again, like I say, you can follow them to get alerts and to get updated on what the topic of the night is going to be. But as far as me really using them and doing too much interacting on them, I'm not on my phone like can't forget the Den. Shit, D1 Chauncey, brother Yonsey. But like I said, if I can't really do it from the PC, I'm not gonna fool with it too much because, like I said, I'm minimizing my phone time. I'm minimizing the social media time, the distractions, because those little minuscule distractions, even though I was only on it for a minute or two, and then getting back into your groove, it can be distracting. It can mess up your workflow. So I appreciate all of y'all. Ed Honcho, Twitter, Ed Honcho, Instagram, and Den Show at Den Show Live on Facebook is the Facebook page, and then you can get to the group from there. Again, all the links in the description below. I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank each and every one of you, and hopefully you join us tomorrow. Because, like I said, unless something major happens, some other type of breaking news, tomorrow's conversation I want to get into the mental illness discussion. Like I said, it was going to primarily be that tonight, but I just thought that was like a little too much. It starts the new year off like, hey, happy New Year's. Let's talk about mental illness. So I rock with y'all. I appreciate y'all again. It is my honor, privilege, and most of all, my pleasure. I thank each and every one of you. And I hope to see you tomorrow night at 9 Central Time. Y'all ain't got to go home. It's like way earlier now. I don't even know what to do with myself. But y'all got to get the fuck out of here. Don't be going to the club after the Den and taking all this good game and great conversation and going to get drunk and forgetting all about it. I'm out.